Test. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our regular Sunday morning satsang. This beautiful April 11th, 2021. As we commence with our puja and our prayers for today, devotees, I ask that you join together with me as we sing this very beautiful bhajan, as I welcome you all to our service before we commence with our prayers. स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी, मात पिता रुयार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी, मात पिता रुयार। तोर भाई हम वास्त सदाहि, तोर भाई हम वास्त सदाहि, तार हमें संसार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे, वेद प्रकाश लिखार। सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे, वेद प्रकाश लिखार। कंद फखंड ओतल कावे, कंद फखंड ओतल कावे, ज्ञान जगत उजियार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। तीर्थ भाया यहाँ ओतल गाँव में, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। तीर्थ भाया यहाँ ओतल गाँव में, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। संगति संतन नीम चलावे, संगति संतन नीम चलावे, शोभन सब व्यवहार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार। At this time, devotees, as that you all join together with me as you go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, straighten your spine, relax your shoulders, relax your head. Continue to focus on your breathing, remaining calm and steady. At this time, devotees, I ask that you take a form of Bhagwan in your mind that is most pleasing to you, one that helps you focus, and join together with me as we chant these opening prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Ishavasyam Miram Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagam Yena Tektina Bhunjeta Mangrudha Kasya Swedhanam Om Sahana Vavatu सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै हरि ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we all join together as we chant the most powerful Gayatri Mantra. Om Agakshivardini Aksharim Brahmodini Gayatri Jagat Mata Vishwayoni Namostute. Om Bhuri Bhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ओम भूरि भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ओम भूरि भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. हरि ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. प्रेम से बोलो गायत्री माता की जय. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we join together now as we offer obediences to that universal destroyer and remover of all obstacles in our life and in this universe, as we offer prayers to Lord Ganesh. Om Shri Ganganapate Namaha. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadhisevitam Kapita Jambhu Palachara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Viganeshwara Pada Pankajam. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurumi Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Raksha Raksha Gana Raksha Raksha Trilokya Rakshakar Bhaktanam Bhayam Karta Trata Bhava Bhavaranavar. Om Shriman Mahaganadipate Namaha. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Ladavana ko bhoga lage santa kare seva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Ekadantandayavanta Charam Bhujabhari Mate ki sindur sohe musake savari. Dukyo ke dukha harta paramananda deva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. अंधन को आंख देते कुरेन को काया. भंजन की पुत्र देते निर्धन को माया. भाव से पर करो नाथ भजन करो तेरा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जो ध्यान ध्यान करो ज्ञान मिली उसको. छोड़ ध्वज और भल जाऊं मैं किसको. हे देवा कृपा करो कष्ट हरो मेरा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा ओम श्रीमन महागणाधिपते नमः प्रेम से बोलो गणेश भगवान की जय. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to the Universal Mother, that destroyer of all evils in our life and in this universe. We offer prayers to Adi Shakti and Durga Mata. Om Mahadundurgaye Namaha. Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durgakshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swatha Namostute Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Budhardini Hardini Jai Sarvagate Kale Ratri Namostute Adevi Sarvam Bhuteshu Vishnu Mayivdi Shamdita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Tushti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Daya Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. As we pray to Mother Durga, we say, O Durga Mata, Thou art the Universal Mother, and we, your children, worship you in many forms. O Ma, we see you as Buddhi, wisdom, Lakshmi, prosperity, Shakti, energy, Shraddha, faith, Shanti, peace, Tushti, contentment, and Daya, compassion. And as we pray to you, O Ma, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. As we pray to you, O Ma, we bow to thee again and again. We offer prayers to Mother Durga devotees in the form of the Universal Mother, Matri Vitte. Ya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Dehi Saubhagyam Narogyam Dehi Me Paramam Sukham Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Vasho Jayi. Om Prem Survari Shakti Durga Mata Ki Jai. As we continue on, devotees, we offer prayers to the most influential beings in our life, those beings that affect every moment that we live in this universe. We offer prayers to the 9 planets, also known in Sanatana as the Navagraha Devata. Om Navagraha Devataya Namaha. Brahma Murari Tripura Takari Banu Shashi Bhume Suto Buddhascha Guruscha Shukraha Shani Rahu Keto Sarvengraha Shanti Karam Bhavantu Sarvengraha Shanti Karam Bhavantu. as we continue with our prayers to the Navagraha Devata devotees. Today being Ravivar, or Sunday, we offer obeisances to that entity in the form of the sun and that sustainer of all life on this planet. We offer prayers to Surya Narayan Bhagwan. Om Suryaya Namaha, 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 Suryaya Namaha. Adideva Namastubhyam, Prasiddha Mama Bhashkaram, Devakara Namastubhyam, Prabhakara Namostute. Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha. Om Prem Navagraha Devata ki jai, Prem Sabolo Surya Narayan Bhagwan ki jai. At this time, devotees, we offer prayers to that sustainer of all things dharmic and all things righteous in this universe. We offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shri Vishnu Namaha. Om Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagan Sadrasham Meghavarnam Shubhagam. Om Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Hiradhyana Gamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvaloke Ganatam. Om Sashankha Chakram Sakiritha Kundhalam Sapita Vastram Sarasirulechanam Sahara Vakshastal Shumikhaustum Bhashriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam. Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam. Prem se Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. And finally, devotees, we join together as we offer prayers to that universal Father, that universal Guru. We offer prayers to that destroyer of all evils in our life and in this universe. We offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Ghoram Harunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagindraharam Saravasantam Hirdayarandavande Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Brahmamurari Surarchitalingam Nirmalabhasita Shobhitalingam Janamajadukka Vinashakalingam Tatta Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tatta Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Devamuri Praruvarchitalingam Kamadaham Karunakaralingam Ravanadharpa Vinashanalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Sarvasugandhi Sulepitalingam Bhunni Vivardhanakaranalingam Siddhasura Suravannitalingam Datta Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Datta Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Kanakamahamani Bhushitalingam Panipati Veshtita Shobhitalingam दक्षसुयज्ञविनाशनलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं कुङ्कुमचन्दनलेपितलिङ्गं पङ्कजहार सुशोभितलिङ्गं संचितपापविनाशनलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं देवगणार्चितसेवितलिङ्गं हायविर्भक्तिभिरेव च लिङ्गं दिनकरकोटिप्रभाकरलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् अष्टरलोपरिवेष्टितलिङ्गं सर्वसमुद्भवकारणलिङ्गम् अष्टधरीन्द्रविनाशितलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् सुरगुरुसुरवरपूजितलिङ्गं सुरवनपुष्पसरारचितलिङ्गं परमात्मलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् अष्टकम् इदं पुण्यं यः पतेः शिवसन्निधौ शिवलोकमवाप्नोति शिवेन सह मोदते ॐ नमः शिवाय. Devotee, we offer this next prayer for all those suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. May the passage be a smooth and tranquil one. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhana Mrityurmuksyo Mamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanat मृत्युर्मुक्षियो मामृतात्. ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव भण्डनात् मृत्युर्मुक्षियो मामृतात्. ॐ श्रीगणपतये नमः. ॐ कार्तिकीये नमः. ॐ नन्दीश्वराय नमः. ॐ वासुकीये नमः. ॐ श्री सांब सदाशिवाय नमः. प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय. Devotees, before we continue on with our sermon for today, I want to thank again Uncle Walter Sukdeyo for sending in a bhajan for all of us to listen to. We'll take a listen to his bhajan at this time, and then we'll move on to our sermon.
He Krishna Gopal Hari, He Dina Dayal Hari, He Krishna Gopal Hari, He Dina Dayal Hari. Tum karta, tum hi karan, tum karta, tum hi karan. परम कृपाल हरि, हे दीन दयाल हरि, हे कृष्ण गोपाल हरि, हे दीन दयाल हरि. रखा केरन भूमि में और कर्मयोग के मर्म बताए, अजर अमर है परम सातयु, काया के दुख सुख समझाए. सकसार की शरणागत के सकसार की शरणागत के सदा प्रतिपाल हरि हे दीन दयाल हरि हे परम कृपाल हरि हे कृष्ण गोपाल हरि हे कृष्ण गोपाल हरि हे दीन दयाल हरि श्याम के रंग में रंग गए मीर रस कालहु रस की काल हुए जग से आके बंद के नीतो सूरदास में डर सके मात जसोदा ब्रज नारी के मात जसोदा ब्रज नारी के माखन चोर हरि हे दीन दयाल हरि जय कृष्ण गोपाल हरि जय नंद के लाल हरि हे कृष्ण गोपाल हरि हे दीन दयाल हरि
I want to thank again Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for recording and sending that very beautiful bhajan for all of us to listen to on this beautiful Sunday morning. Devotees, for those of you who would like to say something, any sort of well wishes to our congregation or community, for those of you who'd like to sing a bhajan and send it in, you're more than welcome to do so. I'll play it live for us here on our Sunday morning satsang. Don't worry about the recording format. Just record it, send it to me. I'll take care of it from that point. If you need to record it on your phone, if you have a smartphone, Android, iPhone, whatever you may have, you can do it via there. You can do it via a recording device, upload it to your computer, and email it to me. But either way, any way you choose to do so, please do send a recording in so we can play for our regular Sunday morning satsang. And again, thank you to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for sending that in. Devotees, before we continue on with our sermon for today, for those of us who have a guru, I ask that we join together as we offer a prayer to our guru. If not, then I ask you to take Lord Shiva or any deva in your mind that you see fit as your universal guru, as you join together with me and we pray. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Namakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripat Prem Se Guru Guru Dev Ki Jai. Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri 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 Krishna Sharanam Mama. It's been about 2 weeks since we last met, devotees. But when we met last, we were on chapter 13 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and we had ended on verses 20 and 21, in which Bhagwan Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna very specifically, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Prakritim Purusam Cheva Vidya Anadhi Bhavapi Vikharam Chankhuram Cheva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan Karya Karana Kartsritri Itu Prakritir Uchyate Purusha Supadhukhanam Bhoktatve Turuchyati Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So where did we end last time, devotees? I know, again, it's been 2 weeks and we were on chapter 13. And Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna more about Prakriti. What is Prakriti? He means, in translation to English, it means the nature. What is the nature and what is the Purusa? Purusa can mean the enjoyer. And in this case, the enjoyer we call the Jiva. What is a Jiva? A Jiva is a person. It's you, it's me, it's every living being. So know that both your nature, your Prakriti, and your Purusa, you yourself, you as the enjoyer, to be without beginning, and know their transformations and qualities to be born of Prakriti. So our transformations and our qualities are born of our nature. And our nature is derived by the atmosphere and the environment around us. So, if you were raised in a household that was filled with screaming, do you think you are going to be a naturally quiet person or a loud person? And again, that answer may depend on your temperament, how you saw that screaming. If everybody screamed out of excitement, you'd probably scream out of excitement too. I think that's a very Guyanese thing to do. You'll go to a household and everybody will be laughing, boisterous, very fun and happy, and you become like that. You know, me and my friends and everybody in the community, my generation at least growing up, we became loud and boisterous, but that's because our parents were loud and boisterous in a very good way. So our nature is derived by the transformations and qualities around us. But in verses 21, where we ended, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that Prakriti is said to be the source and the workings of material cause and effect. And the Purusa, me, myself, the enjoyer, right, the person, is said to be the cause of the experience of material happiness, distress, and so forth. So, your Prakriti is the workings of material cause and effect. Something happens, and you feel something from that, and that's how your nature is formed. Talking about it from a personal experience, I was always told as a child, do not touch the stove. Never touch the stove. Of course, I'm a child, right? I don't even remember how, my mom and dad aren't here to remember. I think it was about 10 years old. So I didn't listen. They were down in the basement watching TV. My brother and sister were down there. And I was upstairs getting some food. And I thought, you know what? Stove's not that hot. Let me touch it. Touched it with my left hand, these 3 fingers. And I burned myself. So my curious Prakriti, my curious nature, caused me to touch something. And what was the effect? I got burned by the stove. Do you think I ever touched a stove after that? No. No. Even with parents and children, or me, we have a dog now. When we watch the dog, we let the dog make mistakes. Children let their parents make mistakes. Things like touching the stove, falling over, going and touching that ant pile. Because the cause of doing that will lead to the effect of them not doing it again. Getting bitten by ants, burning their hand, chewing on the rug and getting yelled at and being put in timeout. Very different things. We're talking about dog and children. And us, the enjoyer, the Purusa, we are the ones who are to be the cause of that. We are the cause in our nature, but we, in our nature, is the cause of happiness, distress, and so forth. So who ultimately is in charge of your happiness? The answer in verse 21, and what Bhagavan Shri Krishna is saying, is the Purusa. You, the person, you as the enjoyer, you're the cause of your own happiness. Who is the cause of your distress? Again, answered in verse 21. You, the Purusa. You, the person, the enjoyer, the Jiva. You are the one who is responsible and the cause of your distress. If somebody does something to bug you, that's just because personally and in your nature, your Prakriti, it bugs you and you let it bug you. You let it bug you to the end of the time. You let it distress you until the end of time. But do you ever say anything about it? No, because our nature says that I'm going to see something. I'm going to learn about it. And I'm just going to let it bottle up. I'm just going to bring it inside, let it bottle it up, let it build, and then I'm going to explode later. Because that's what our nature has taught us. Don't let your nature be static over time, devotees. Your Prakriti can change over time. And let that Prakriti, as you, the Purusa, you, the enjoyer, you, the person, control your happiness and distress. Don't be distressed all the time, but you are in charge of all that. Don't tell me it's somebody else. You're married. Don't tell me it's your spouse that's the cause of that. Don't tell me it's the children that are the cause of that. You are the one who controls your happiness, your sadness, your distress, your joys, your sorrows. It's you. And you have the ability to reach out for help too. Just like we have the ability to help others. That is the nature of what Sanatana Dharma is. The path of righteousness. Our prakriti should be to help others and sustain this world. So, Bhagwan Shri Krishna says that. He says that everything is without beginning and end. All of these pieces of nature and who we are formed by us. They exist within us. They're caused by the nature around us. But then he says a little bit more about what this nature is and how this nature relates back to Bhagwan. Because we talk about how it affects us and our emotions and everything around us. But what do we need to know about what that nature inside of us is telling us? He goes on to tell Arjuna that nature inside of us is more than just a feeling. It's more than something that we derive and create. Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Purusa Prakritishtohi, Bhukti Prakriti Jangunan, Karanam Guna Sangho, Sadhasarjuni Janmasu, Upadrastanu Mantacha, Bharata Bhoktamaheswara, Paramatmeti Chapyuko, Dehismin Purusamara, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagwan Shri Krishna goes on to tell Arjuna that by becoming situated in your prakriti, in your nature, you, the jiva, enjoys the sense objects born of that nature. So if your nature is greed, you enjoy the sense objects of greed by grabbing everything around you. If your nature may be something like food, then you enjoy the sense objects that you derive from food. The sight of food, the smell of food, the taste of food. If you're a seamstress, if you like fabric, your sense of enjoyment comes from the colors, the sight of that. Smell maybe, who knows. Right? Maybe if you're woodworking, you like the smell of sawdust. Or the touch and the feel of clothing. The cause of this birth in higher and lower species is due to his association with his modes of prakriti, his modes of nature. So the cause of birth in all species is due to our association with that nature around us. But he goes on to say a little bit more about this nature inside of us, because there's something that we fail to remember time and time again, even though we're told millions of times that in this body, Bhagwan Shri Krishna says in verse 23, in this body there exists a superior purusa, a superior person, a superior enjoyer, and that's called the transcendental enjoyer. This enjoyer that's inside of us is Paramatma. Paramatma, Atma soul, Para, great, that great soul. Or universal soul. He is the witness. That thing inside of you is the witness. It's the permitter, it's the supporter, it's the maintainer, and also the supreme controller. So everything that we do, everything that we experience, everything that we feel, our emotions, our mentality, our thoughts come from our nature. But there's something that's attached to that we fail to remember and fail to see, and that is the Paramatma of our Prakriti. The Paramatma of our Purusa, of ourselves. So what do we know about Bhagwan? Where does Bhagwan exist? Bhagwan, as we learned in some of the previous verses and chapters, exists in the unmanifest. He is not in this manifest world. He exists in the unmanifest. Yet he is here. And how is he here? This manifest world exists within that giant unmanifest. Everything that is around us is a part of Bhagwan. The chair that's in front of us, the food that we eat, the iPads that we continue to use, the books that we read, the people that we talk to. Bhagwan is here, Bhagwan is there, Bhagwan is everywhere. Bhagwan exists inside of every person. Paramatma, everybody has Paramatma. They have a witness, a permitter, somebody who supports, maintains, and is also the supreme control. That exists within every single person, and we forget that. Even though I tell you a million times, any pundit will tell you a million times, Bhagwan is here, Bhagwan is there, Bhagwan is everywhere. We forget that. Because our nature, the thing that overrides that, is that nature that causes us to focus on other things, our work, the job, our income, the projects we have to do around the house, how clean things are, how ordered our life is, what is going to happen tomorrow. Am I stressed about work? Am I not stressed about work? Our nature makes us forget where God is. And it makes us forget the most important concept, that God is inside of me, God is inside of you, God is inside of everyone. That's why we say namaste. I saw somebody post something online this morning, and it said, I'm here in my vacation spot, hashtag namaste, hashtag beach life, hashtag blah, 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 blah. And I felt that was a little out of context. And that's my nature. That was me being a little particular about that. Namaste means that we are greeting, and my brother said this once too. He said he heard a pastor say that. I love saying namaste, because what does namaste mean? It means I am saying hello to the God within you. And when you say namaste to me, you're saying hello to the God within me, that spark of Bhagwan. We forget that God is everywhere. So that's what he says. This Purusa, this enjoyer, this body, has a prakriti, nature, and deep down that nature is a part of Bhagwan. But sometimes the nature that we live with, the nature that we predict, the nature that we form, gets us to override that, and we cause anger in other people, distress in other people, anger in ourselves, distress in ourselves. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna wants us to be one thing. He wants us to understand one thing that's very important about this Paramatma that exists within every person. He tells Arjuna in verses 24 and 25, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Ya Evam Veti Purusam Prakritim Janghodhan Saha Sarvatha Varatamanopi Natsamhoyo Bhijayate Dhyanen Atmani Pasyanti Kechir Atmanam Atmana Anye Samtena Yogena Karama Yogena Champari Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. If you've noticed, devotees, I'm going 2 verses at a time because it's all very important for us to understand what Bhagwan Shri Krishna is about to say. He says that one who understands that the Purusa Tattva, that person, and the Maya, that illusion with the 3 modes, and the Jiva that does not take that birth again, regardless of his present situation. So if you understand who is the body, who is the enjoyer, if you understand the modes of that enjoyer, you will not take birth again, regardless of your present situation. How many of it's worded very weirdly, the verse, when you translate it to English. But again, the too long don't read version, or the easy to chew, easy to swallow version, is if you understand the person, you will not take birth again, no matter what the situation is, no matter what your situation in life is. In verse 25, he says, by meditating on the Supreme, the bhaktas, these people, the worshippers, see him within their hearts. The jnanis try to see him by Sankhya Yoga, by meditation. The yogis by Astanga Yoga, which is knowledge, meditation, yoga of knowledge. And others in the process of Niskama Karma Yoga, these fruitive desires, these desires of earthly pleasures, things that we do to other people and other things, the actions that we take. So if you understand that the world is somewhat of an illusion, and you understand the person, the Purusa, and that Purusa is Paramatma, you will not take birth again regardless of your position. I don't think we've all really chosen to fathom and understand what Bhagwan is inside of each and every person. And I say that with the understanding and asking the question of, do you treat your parents the same way you would treat your best friend? Do you treat your children the same way you would treat your grandparents. Do you treat a homeless person the same way you would treat somebody of wealth and power? Do you treat the President of the United States the same way you treat the leader of North Korea? Very polar opposites, I understand. Some very polarizing differences, too. Politics, especially, is one of those things. When we talk about people, we fail to remember what is inside of them. That nature that will ultimately bring out good. There are some people who try to find this in every single person. And they do it in different ways. In order to maintain a good, calm, steady mind, some folks meditate. Sandy, if she's watching, meditates. You bring closure inside of your heart and mind. You center yourself. You get yourself ready in the day. Some choose to do it by Astanga Yoga, by knowledge, by reading the books. I know my dad has read a Joel Osteen book or two. I've read a Joel Osteen book or two. We read books on leadership, Lean Six Sigma, agile methodologies, things that will help us become better people, understand the world around us. Some people do it by fruit of desires, by going out to a homeless shelter, by buying things for other people, by having a love language of hugging, cuddling, gift giving, acts of service. We all try to understand that jiva, that paramatma, inside of each jiva by doing it a little bit differently. Does that mean it's wrong, depending on how we do it? No. It doesn't mean it's wrong. But what we fail to remember every single day, devotees, is that there's God inside of every single person. So when we talk bad about somebody behind their back, what are we doing? We're pretty much just talking bad about God in some way, shape, or form. When we insult somebody to their face, what are we doing? Pretty much insulting God in some way, shape, or form. When we judge somebody based off their characteristics, when we choose not to help them, when we put them into a specific category because that's how we feel, what are we doing? We're doing that to God too. We forget where God is. What Bhagwan Shri Krishna is trying to tell us here in these verses is that our nature is born of the actions that we take in this world. We, the enjoyer, are the ones who shape those actions. But we, as the enjoyer, forget that our true Prakriti inside of us is always a Paramatma, that great Bhagwan. So what does he say about those who forget, though? If you forget that Bhagwan is here, Bhagwan is there, is everywhere, what happens to you? Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Anyatva evam ajhananta, Nusrutvanyebhyo bhasate, Tepi chate taranteva, Mrityum sruti parayana, Yavat samjayate kimchit, Sattvam stavarjangamam, Kshetra kshetra jana samyoga, Navidhim bharatar sabha, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna in verses 26 and 27. Others, however, who do not know this tattva, beginning worshipping the Supreme after hearing from various Aracharyas. Aracharyas are knowledgeable people, people who know the information, the stories. By such devotion to hearing, they too can gradually transcend this mortal world. This is certain. O best of the Bharatas, know that whatever moving and non-moving beings are born, all are produced from the combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, which is the field and the knower of the field. The field is us, our body, and we are the ones who know our body. Do not tell somebody you know their body better than they do. Not unless you are a doctor who has done different sides of imaging scans, medical tests, and procedures. You do not get to tell somebody about their body. That is not your choice. That is not your body. So he says that those who do not know this tattva, who know this truth, begin worshipping the Supreme after hearing from various knowledgeable people. Such devotion, they can gradually transcend this mortal world. Any examples of this within our scriptures? Plenty and plenty of times. Not last week, devotees, but 2 weeks before, we talked about one person in particular who heard the stories of the Supreme and was able to transcend this mortal world and become a better person. Who was that person? You heard it when we talked about the story of Narasimha. That young man whose name is Prahalad, when he was in his mother's womb, he listened to stories of Bhagwan Vishnu, the glories of Bhagwan Vishnu. And when he was a child, born, he still listened, studied, and loved those stories. And because of that, you saw the kind of person he was. You saw who Bhagwan protected in the end. He didn't protect the demon king. He protected the young man who had nothing to his name and was about to be killed for the love he had to Bhagwan. Knowledge is obtained by understanding. And it's truly acquired when that wisdom takes place to apply the knowledge that you have gained. You coming to Mandir, you listening to the service, you reading the Bhagavad Gita does not make you a good person. You living your life in according to the actions that Bhagwan has set forth, that's what makes you a good person. So don't say that I go to Mandir every Sunday. I'm a good person. I've donated 5% of my paycheck to support the Mandir. I'm a good person. Don't say that, oh, I read the entire Bhagavad Gita, cover to cover. I'm a good person. Unless you have the wisdom to express the things that you've learned, we'll never become good people. We'll stick into this mortal world. I am included in that. I am not void from that. Yes, I read the Bhagavad Gita every week to you all. I go back and read chapters to understand more about myself. But a lot of times I forget. I'll flap my mouth too much and say something that I shouldn't have. I'll get angry in situations I should have remained calm in. We need to remember that if we have the knowledge, we have to express the knowledge, and if we do that, we'll transcend this mortal world. If we know more about our body, if we know the field, our body, and we know the field, how to treat that field, and the field of others, we will transcend this mortal world. We end, devotees, on verse 28, in which Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna a little bit more about Parameswara. Who sees Parameswara? He says to Bhagwan Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Sammam Sarvesu Nasu Dishtantam Parameswaram Vinasyatsva Vinasyantam Yapasyati Sapasyati Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagwan Shri Krishna ends with verse 28, or we end today with verse 28, in which Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, only one who sees Parameswara equally in all beings, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul with the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. What did Bhagwan Shri Krishna just say? One more time. Only one who sees Parameswara equally in all beings, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul with the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. I feel like I just read some sort of poetry that I have to do a Socratic seminar on. What Bhagwan Shri Krishna means when he says this in verse 28 is something that we will talk about, devotees, next Sunday during our regular Sunday morning satsang. Prem Savar Krishna Chandra Bhagwan Ki Jai. Devotees, before we conclude for today, or before we end and have our final announcements, I ask that you will join together with me. At this time, go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale. As you exhale, relax your body, drop your shoulders, relax your neck. As you keep your eyes closed and you breathe, focus on a form of Bhagwan that helps you focus, one that is most pleasing to you, devotees. And join together with me as we chant these closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Maghalam Bhavatu, Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukam Bhag Bhavet, Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardanam, Yatya Pujatam Maya Deva Paripurnam Dharastu Me, Papoham Papu Karamaham Papo Atma Papa Sambhava, Trahimam Pudari Kaksham Sarva Papo Haro Hari. Om Tvameva Matasta Pitha Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vidyandravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityuma Mritam Gamaya. Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Om Gurura Brahma Gurura Vishnu Gurura Deo Maheshwara Gurura Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Shantir Antariksham Om Shantir Prithvi Shantir Apa Shantir Aushadhaya Shantir Vanaspati Shantir Vishwadeva Shantir Brahma Shantir Sarvegvam Shantir Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi. Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Durga Mata ki Jai. Prem se bolo Navgraha Devata ki Jai. Prem se bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shiva Shankar Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shiva Shakti Mandir ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sanatana Dharma ki Jai. Devotees, with this we've come to the end of our Sunday morning satsang, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Just a few announcements before we end for today. I want to go ahead and talk about some events that are coming up on our calendar and to let you all know exactly what we'll be doing over the next few weeks. But starting tomorrow, which is Monday, April 12th, and all the way through Tuesday, April 20th. So April 12th, April 1-2, through Tuesday, April 20th, April 20, begins the period of Chaitra Navaratri. It's spring, is what that means. Spring Navaratri, the Navaratri in the spring period. So again, that begins tomorrow, which is Monday, April 12th, and it goes all the way through Tuesday, April 20th. It is 9 days long, and the first 3 days we offer obeisances and worship Mother Durga. On the second 3 days, we offer obeisances and worship Mother Lakshmi. And on the last 3 days, we offer obeisances and worship Mother Saraswati. Typically, devotees, we have two different pujas on that weekend whenever we have Navaratri. However, this coming Navaratri, I'm actually traveling to perform pujas for certain people outside of the state of Georgia, so we will not be having any sorts of virtual service for Chaitra Navaratri puja this year, nor will we be having our regular Sunday morning service next Sunday, again, because I will be traveling performing pujas outside of the state. So if you're at home, you are more than welcome to continue doing your Navaratri service. We do have a Navaratri service that we did record and put onto YouTube back during the fall period. I recommend that you go ahead and take a look at that. The puja is all there, the dhar is all there, the words, the worshipping, the songs, everything is there. I highly recommend you take a look at that if you need some extra motivation, extra help, or extra prayers for your Navaratri this year. Continue on after that, though, when we do reconvene, devotees, it will be on Wednesday, April 21st. That period and that date is Ram Navami Puja. That will be Wednesday, April 21st. And we have another puja after that on Monday, April 26th. That'll be Hanuman Jayanti Puja. So for those of you who would like to record singing of the Hanuman Chalisa, and send that in. I would love to play that during our Hanuman Jayanti Puja when we get to that on Monday, April 26th. Go ahead and record it now, send it early. But like I said, and I'll reiterate, we will not be having any sorts of Navratri Puja this year for this because I'll be traveling. We won't be able to record anything. We won't have a regular Sunday morning service next Sunday, which is the 18th, but we will reconvene for Wednesday, April 21st for Ram Navami Puja, and then we will have our Hanuman Jayanti Puja on Monday, April 26th. Just some announcements from our president and for everybody to know. Our prayers are being sent to the Prasad family for the passing of Uncle Kumar Prasad. Uncle Kumar Prasad is the brother of Uncle Kamraj and the brother-in-law of Auntie Rupa. He passed away in New York, and it's profoundly impacted all of us. Our prayers and deepest condolences are to the family. As we said that prayer during Lord Shiva, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, if you have some time, please say that prayer again in remembrance to Uncle Kumar. On a lighter note, we did have a few birthdays this week, so we want to wish happy birthdays to Uncle Krishna Prasad and to Amanda Prasad. Happy birthday to the two of you. And then from what I understood, 29 years ago, there was a couple who on a very rainy day in Guyana decided they wanted to get married. Eventually they got married. They got married, obviously. They left Guyana, traveled around the world, had 3 children, one of which gets to annoy them live on YouTube every Sunday. And they're still wonderfully. It says 29. I meant to say 39. I was wrong. See? I forget. 39 years of marriage. So to my mother and father, to our president and our first lady, to Uncle Ballram and Auntie Nidra, to you both, mom and dad, happy 39th wedding anniversary. We'll celebrate next year when it's 40 and COVID should have curbed by then. So until then, you just wait. But happy anniversary to you both. Devotees, other than that, I have no other announcements. I want to say Jai Sita Ram te Gita. Yes, Gita, I'm looking happy Navratri early to all of you. I'm looking forward to the point where we can all come back to Mandir. I want to say Jai Sita Ram to Auntie Zandra and Uncle Rajan as well. Sita Ram to Indira Didi, to Tim Dabbit and the kids, Ashwarya and Tejas, and Sita Ram to Sister Priya Kumar, Brother Tony, and your 2 children as well. Jai Sita Ram, thank you all for chatting into the chat. Thank you for being here, supporting us. Devotees, until next week, you all be safe, wonderful, happy, and sound. I'll see you on Wednesday, April 21st for our Ram Nami Puja. Jai Sita Ram, everyone.